Hey guys, it's Uncle Stitch. Tonight we're going to be taking apart the Ferrum Forge Massdrop buck. When I was a kid, there was a martial arts magazine. I can't exactly remember what it was called. It'll come to me. But in the martial arts magazine was a sword that I'll put up a photo. I think it was called a Dadao. I'll put up a photograph. I'll split it in. But anyway, years and years and years later, I saw a very similar shape to that. I bought one, and the thing was a piece of shit. It was made out of like horrible metal that did not hold an edge. But it was one of my favorite pieces in my collection because of how cool it looked. It looked like a real slicer, you know? Looked like something you'd use to fucking chop a tree in half, you know what I mean? So anyway, years later, I kind of saw a very similar design, almost like a cleaver type of design on a knife, and that's when I became interested in it. See those scratches on the back? So anyway, that's what got me into Ferrum Forge. That was my introduction. And my first one that I ever bought, we're using 91% isopropyl alcohol. Hopefully I don't spill it all over like I did last time. So anyway, you know how like they say that people judge you within like the first 10 seconds of meeting you? Well, imagine what they thought when I walked into Walgreens at 1:30 in the morning and bought 12 bottles of 91% isopropyl alcohol, which I bought them out, and a thing of paper towels. I'm always needing this isopropyl alcohol stuff. So anyway, things that I didn't cover in my review that I'll bring up here a little bit about the history. Ferrum Forge Massdrop Buck is the title of this knife. That's a long title for a knife. Ferrum Forge Massdrop Buck. Well, it all started with a company called Drop. Essentially what ended up happening was they collabed with a knife maker called Ferrum Forge to produce these. This was inspired by the Asian cavalry sabers, like the ones that I was talking about. Kind of a spin-off for Elliot Williamson's lust for historical weapons. I mean, everybody's got, you know, a fantasy about fucking samurai swords or something. So anyway, he named it the Buck, the B-U-C. Buck is short for Buccaneer. He chose a really good knife steel. He chose S35VN. You unscrew them all the way and they don't want to come out. Come on, baby. So I chose S35 VN steel, phenomenal steel, phenomenal choice for EDC. The design of the blade is what captured my attention, but once I found out that it was made out of a premium steel, that was a sold deal for me. That was a guaranteed buy. So these run off of washers and ball bearings. The washers will sit inside of the detent, you can see. You know what I'm gonna do? Put one of those paper towels down. Real quick. Should have done that to begin with. I'm gonna get this thing to be nice and visible. Red backgrounds are not very friendly. So, runs off of washers and ball bearings. These actually look like they're in pretty good shape. I don't always put the washers in isopropyl alcohol. It doesn't hurt, but I do not put the ball bearings. I don't submerge ball bearings in anything. Ball bearings are very delicate. I'll show you guys. So this is the side that has the track that faces towards the detent and the handle, and the other side is flat but exposes the balls. That's what faces the blade. I do not put ball bearings inside of isopropyl alcohol. I usually leave that alone. So here's the blade. I fucking love this thing. I love how sick and just evil this thing looks. There's a bit of a story behind these that kind of sucks, and I'll fill you guys in on it. As we're going through this. So there is a ceramic ball that the blade will dip into. See that hole there? And that will kind of spring it into action when you're closing it, to make it almost feel like it's magnetic, but it's not. So anyway. Did I set the paper towel down on top of the fucking bit that I needed? I think I did. Yes, I did. So as we're going through this, I'll kind of tell you guys a little bit about it. So Drop started out as Massdrop, and if you pay attention to that name, Massdrop, you'll see the irony in all of this and how this ended. Does it have a detent? No, it does not. That's purely a circle. Pin in there. So anyway, drop started out as Massdrop. They did like these massive pre-order buys, and for those of you who are in the Balisong community, you're familiar with the Matrix and by OSP, Jay McCohen. You know, pre-orders with knife manufacturers can be a risky thing. In this case, it wasn't so much a risky thing with Ferrum Forge Massdrop buck. But there are plenty of knife communities that have gotten burnt by pre-orders from knife makers that end up fucking not going through with the pre-orders and taking the money, or getting hooked on drugs and coming up with some kind of a sad story, or, you know, somebody else was building the knife for them and they couldn't do it when that person passed away, yada yada yada, you know, but your money's gone. Sorry about that. Right? I can't get that fucker out of there, and I'm not gonna fuck with it. I'm just not gonna fuck with it. Okay. Okay, well, that's staying on there. So let me go ahead and get started on cleaning these. Every video I kind of show you guys what I go through. This one's going to be a pretty simple video, but let me go grab the materials real quick so I can show you what I'm doing. So when you guys are hearing the water running, I use just any soap was gonna work. I use dish soap. What I do is I get the water super hot. I get the blade hot by putting it under the hot water. I drizzle this on, kind of smooth it out. And then I began using the sponge like you would a strop and drawing away from to clean the blade. Now, when it comes to this side, you can press down hard enough to where the blade's not touching the sponge and kind of ride it like a surfboard to try and clean that up. Depending on the type of steel that it's made out of, you might not want to use the Brillo side, but sometimes you might have to. Obviously, there's a line here on this blade from where that detent ball, that ceramic ball, travels. I don't see any rust, so I don't see a reason to use the Brillo pad on that side. It's all just dirt, really. So there's no rust. So when there is rust, a lot of the times by heating it up, you can grab this thing and go around in a circular motion, or you can do exactly what I did and press down hard enough that the blade's not touching the sponge and push or drag, however you want to do it. So that's what I'm doing over there with the sponge. I'll be right back. We're gonna start with the blade and go from there. Oop, don't want to lose my ball bearing, man. All right, guys, I'll be right back. Alright, so we're back. I'm gonna rub these down with alcohol prep pads. Instead of soap and water, because if I get this thing wet and I can't clean under there, those screws could rust. So that's why I'm doing it that way. If I could get them all out, then I would go scrub them down with a sponge. But like I was telling you about, so they developed a massive community of loyal fans that at any whim would throw money at their pre-orders. And Massdrop was using knife suppliers like We Knife, WE, and Re8 to produce knives. Actually, you know what? I need to go grab fucking Q-tips. Just a second, guys. Yeah. So, if you pay attention to the name Massdrop, you kind of understand. Look how dirty that was inside. Wow, look at that. That's dirty as shit. Glad I fucking did that. These Q-tips are fucking valuable. Cleaning stuff like that. Inside there real good. Got that little detent there. So they developed this huge loyal fan base that when they're like, okay guys, we're making a new knife, this whole community of people would throw money at it before they even got the knife, before the knives were even made. And the thing was they offered a low price up front. Like the Ferrum Forged Massdrop buck that I'm holding in my hand was like $100 or $115, I think, if you ordered it on pre-order. Obviously now they've gone up considerably because they're not in business anymore, and they're just not available and they're not for sale. So all these people would send them money, and they would use that money to pay Re8 and We Knives to build the knives. This community was so loving and loyal to these guys that even when they had quality control issues with like the lockup of the blade or the blade itself having scratches, things like that, the people just put up with it. I'm wiping that down with alcohol. Yeah, oh yeah, that's dirty. The people just kind of put up with it because they loved the community, and they were, you know, it's kind of like a we're all in this together type of feeling. I mean, people, this could have turned into something huge. And man, I'm sorry I didn't take this thing all the way apart, guys. I just couldn't get those screws out. Otherwise, I'd be washing this in the sink. So Massdrop's plan all along was to develop a massive fan base and then sell that off to somebody else. And they didn't tell anybody in the community this. This was something that was like a corporate secret. All of these loyal fans that they had no idea that that was the plan. But you look at the word Massdrop, and now you understand kind of a double meaning behind that word. So anyway, what ended up happening was they raised a bunch of money with this strategy from investors of like, hey, you know, if you want to have guaranteed sales, you should buy into my company, and we can put your knife up there. And it's, you know, look at how many people are pre-ordering for this knife. Look at how many people are pre-ordering for this knife. Da 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 da. So these people would invest in the company. So you kind of see where that's going. This area is really dirty. To my knowledge, I don't even know if the investors knew what was going on or what the plan was. I don't think that they had any idea. Man, that still looks dirty to me. So I don't think the knife designers knew what the plan exactly was. That Massdrop was going to sell off to somebody and just totally fuck over the whole community. That's pretty dirty too. Why we take them apart and clean them, guys? So anyway, essentially what happened is they built up this massive fan base. Massdrop sold off to Amazon, distributed their profits to the investors, and killed the community within a couple of weeks' notice. So for years and years, they had built up this community, this knife community, and in like a week, they, without a moment's notice, they just fucking killed off everything. So a lot of people are burnt. They had a lot of very loyal fans, and it was like a community, man. It was people love these things. You know, they were making videos of taking them on camping trips and, you know, fucking taking it all over. You know, taking pictures of it on the beach, showing people what they're using it for, so on and so forth. You know, they're built up a lot of pride. And Massdrop just totally fucked everybody over. Totally. So anyway, they don't produce these anymore. That's the story behind it. Now all of you guys know what the story is and why these aren't for sale anymore. Is that going to make this knife worth a shit ton because it's not for sale anymore? No, it's not. If you're buying these because you enjoy the knife. I'm one of those people. I enjoy the knife. Could I sell them and make a profit from what I bought them for? Yeah, I could, because there is people in the Ferrum Forge community still that when they put their stuff up for sale, if you know the story behind it and you're telling them, talking to them about it, a lot of times they end up dropping the price just because you know the history. Just because you know what they've been through. And basically what you're doing is you're telling them, hey man, I hear you. I totally hear you, but I'm sorry. You know, fucking... I can't give you $350 for this. I can give you like $125, $150, something like that. You know, a lot of times, you know, they'll let them go because you understand their situation. Like, you understand. What they've been through. And a lot of people got hurt from that, man. So, but... you know, people that have these, there's a lot of people that don't want to sell them either. So, it's just the way the world worked out. Let me find my tweezers. Basically, yeah, these washers are considerably thicker than Spyderco's. I'm not going to take a Spyderco apart to show you the difference, but Spyderco's are about the width of a fingernail, and this is like 3 or 4 times the width of a fingernail. USA Knife Maker, they sell all kinds of different washers and ball bearings for all shapes and sizes and Man, I got that thing shiny as fuck now. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get it to reflect on there, but it's fucking mirror image. I forget what the fuck I was talking about. It's not important anyway. It probably was, but... So anyway... Motherfucker. So, I'm more of a, I guess in a sense, collector. I have 2 knives that are in peak condition. However, when you're talking to these people about buying their Ferrum Forge Massdrop bucks, there she goes. You know, I'll tell them that, hey, look, you know, I'm gonna EDC this or something. You know, like obviously it's been EDC. This one has scratches on the blade, so I got a deal just from talking to them about that. You know, to use knife. Gotta put the pin in. But the collectors, you know, when you tell them that you know about the history and you know, they have an appreciation because you're not just some guy randomly buying these. And a lot of people want to know that these are going to good homes, people that value and respect them, you know. So when you tell them that you know the history and you tell them what the history was, because they might, you know, they might know, they might not know, you never know. Could just be some guy that doesn't know what he has, doesn't know that they're not for sale anymore, you know. Man, the tolerances in between that liner lock and this is, I mean, they are spot on. They are very tight tolerances. That's one thing that, you know, We Knife, Co. and Re8, obviously Chinese brands, but they did a stellar job. Fucking stellar job. So what I'm gonna do, build this backwards. Bloop. Getting harder and harder for me to fucking see silver stuff inside of a silver bowl. Might have to get a white one. So get all the gunk off of this. Now when I oil this, man, it's gonna be smooth as hell. Those ball bearings that are sitting in tracks, you have to be super careful with those, because if they pop out of the track, man, they are gone. You're never gonna find that little ball bearing. It's fucking gone, especially if you have carpet. And getting them back in is a fucking nightmare. So it's like, you know, you're better off. Some people will take them and just roll them around on a wet paper towel. I'm not gonna bother. I don't want any rust developing at all. So that's why I left the ball bearings alone. Trying to line this pin up. It'll go into place when it's there. Here we go, I felt it. Start screwing this down. So at least, you know, there's probably a lot of people watching this who are like, man, I had no idea that's what happened. Well, this is why you tune in to Uncle Stitch. Don't forget to like and subscribe. So I have pretty good information. I'm always as informative as I can be. I don't know everything, that's for sure, but certainly do try. Yeah, when you walk into Walgreens at 1:30 in the morning and buy it out there, all you see propyl alcohol and like a shit ton of paper towels, people look at you. They sure do. Especially when you look like me. Like, it didn't take them the whole 10 seconds to judge my character. They fucking took about a half a second. But they don't need to know what I'm using it for. Snug, but not too tight. Oh yeah, she's much smoother than what she was. That's without me oiling it. Wow. That took no pressure at all. This is a very, very well built knife. See all them scratches? Very, very well built knife. The tolerances on this thing are just, I mean, no effort at all. You saw how slow that opened? I used no pressure at all. So we go get some oil and drop it in there. I always use like way too much oil, but it's all right. Oil ain't gonna hurt nothing. And I know I should be using fucking Benchmade Blue Lube. It's what I used to use. I paid like $17 for a bottle of it, I think, and fucking somebody needed lube for something and it just never made its way back. When I was up in Ohio, so that was the last time I bought Benchmade Blue Lube, but it is for sale on Blade HQ. Kind of roll this thing around a little bit, let gravity do its job. All that oil in there. Oh yeah, I can feel this thing super, super slick. Super slick now. That's fucking nice. Oh yeah. She pretty. So anyway, you guys have seen a complete teardown of the Ferrum Forge Massdrop buck. You've heard the backstory behind these things. Kind of a sad story, but you know, is what it is. You know, to me they're worth something. They do have a history. It's a shame that they're not continuing to develop knives like these, because this was a beautiful design. You know, just I did a whole review on this. I'm not gonna do a review on this one. This was just a complete teardown. But if you guys want to see the review, it's 20 minutes long. It's on my channel, and I kind of go over a lot about the knife and what my thoughts and opinions are. And I think I did a really good job. So if you guys want to go see that video, that's on my YouTube channel. So anyway, all right, guys. Peace.